Feeling depressed sucks, and this is part 2 in my little mini series that I'm doing about what to do when feeling depressed. My name is Elizabeth Cermak. I'm a psychotherapist and coach here to talk about bringing the vertical into this world, and this month we're focusing on mental health. So my last video was part 1 about what to do when feeling depressed, and we talked a lot about how not to focus on your thoughts, how in the field of psychology they talk about focusing on action, starting with action when feeling depressed and not thoughts. You don't want to try to argue with your thoughts. You don't want to try to wrestle with your thoughts. This is not the time. So focusing on small opposite actions and actually focusing on thinking less, simplifying your thoughts. You know, sometimes our brain is just filled with all these thoughts, right, that just aren't helpful. So in this video, though, we're going to talk about how to change our focus when feeling depressed. So we're not arguing with our thoughts, we're not entangling with our thoughts, but we are going to change our focus. First, let's just reaffirm that you haven't done anything wrong. Everything's okay. You are safe. You haven't messed anything up. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling, and there's no need to feel guilt about feeling depressed. Guilt is usually a secondary emotion, which means that we put it on top of another emotion. So we want to stick with the first emotion. We don't want to feel guilty about feeling a certain way, okay? So let go of all the guilt. There's no room for that. This is not the time. So we're affirming that we haven't messed anything up. We're in the right place. Everything is fine. And now we're going to change our focus. We're going to change our focus because we don't want to be focusing on probably the things that we have been. So chances are these thoughts, these feelings that are making you feel depressed, it could be like comparing yourself to somebody. It could be feeling like things are meaningless. It could be feeling like, a lot of times it's like this feeling of like life is just too hard. I can't handle it. So a lot of times, though, these types of thoughts and feelings, you're probably having them when you're feeling better. They're just smaller. They're just not a big deal. You just know that they're not real. You just know that they're not helpful, or these are thoughts that are lying to you. So Eckhart Tolle talks about this a lot, how we want to observe our thoughts and feelings. We don't want to become, and I have other videos about this, about how have you become your thoughts and feelings? And if you're feeling depressed, chances are you've kind of become the feeling. You don't feel like you are the one who's experiencing the feeling anymore. You have become the feeling. When you're feeling better, you are bigger than the feeling. Like the true you, the capital S self, is actually bigger than the feeling. So you are in charge when you're feeling better. I don't want to entangle with this thought of comparison. I don't want to entangle with this depressing thought about life. Like, no, I'm not going to go there. They're not helpful, and they're not ultimately the truth. So then you're able to know that these thoughts basically aren't ultimately the truth. And you're bigger than the thought. And so the thought isn't as distressing. It just kind of like comes and goes. But chances are now it's kind of, this thought has become bigger than you. In truth, the thought has not become bigger than you. It can't. Your true self is always bigger, but it just feels that way. So in this video, we're going to talk about changing our focus so we are in charge again. We are in charge. S, capital self, capital S self. Okay, so now picture you're holding a magnifying glass. You're holding a magnifying glass. All thoughts are possible, right? Everything here is possible in this world. All thoughts exist. Creation is finished. So every thought is floating around, in this world, in this universe, every thought that's ever been had. And they're not personal. So just imagine that there's all these thoughts. You could be thinking anything, but we tend to think the same things over and over and over again. So you could be thinking anything, and there's all these thoughts in the world floating around you, and you have a magnifying glass, and your magnifying glass has decided to make certain thoughts and feelings. We're just going to call them thoughts and feelings. A thought is different than a feeling. A thought is a sentence. A feeling is one word, vibration in your body. And right now, the thoughts and feelings are probably all kind of together. All these thoughts and feelings are floating around. You have your magnifying glass, and your magnifying glass has magnified certain depressing thoughts. It has made them big, right? So your magnifying glass is now, we're focusing, and we're putting the magnifying glass on those depressing thoughts. That's what's happening. So what we're going to do instead is we want to take the magnifying glass and we want to focus it on more helpful, more truthful, better thoughts. We're just going to call them better. I don't like to say thoughts are good or bad, or feelings are good or bad, but in this case, yes, there is something called right thinking, and we want to think right. So we want to take the magnifying glass on better thoughts, and we're going to magnify the better thoughts, which cause better feelings. So the better thoughts and better feelings are going to be magnified. Okay. So one of the ways that we can do this is, remember, what we focus on expands. What we focus on expands. Thoughts aren't personal. They feel personal because we tend to think the same thing over and over again. And we're practicing, that, but that's okay. So one of the ways that we can do this is the 3 good things exercise. I have another video. I'll put the link here about the other video I have about, it was a study, I think it was Duke University that did the study about focusing on 3 good things that happened today. What went right today? Okay, so we're going to focus every day on 3 things that went right, because 3 things did go right today. Okay, even if they're like little things, like you got a green light, or you woke up this morning and felt okay, or you had a moment of, you ate something good, whatever, I don't care. 3 things. This is not about gratitude. It's about literally what went right today. What went right? What is going your way? So we're taking our attention away from the depressing thoughts, and we are focusing on what went right. We're not arguing with them. We're letting them be. We're just taking the magnifying glass and putting it on a different thought and a different feeling. Okay. So what went right today? The other thing that I want you to do, this is your homework, is to let's go to 100 things that bring you joy. 100 things that bring you joy. Just keep digging, keep digging. So you could write 10 a day or something. But what happens when you get to the end of this list, you really have to dig, so 100 things that bring you joy. And by the end, it's probably little simple things that happen every day, like a nice sunset. I don't know. I love seeing my solar lights go on at night outside of my garden, or looking at the moon. Like, these are things that bring you joy that probably by the end of the list, you're probably going to get to things that don't cost a lot of money, that are simple things. So that's why I want you to get to 100, but write down big things too. Write everything down. 100 things that bring you joy and 3 good things. This is helping us to focus, to put our magnifying glass on better thoughts, which is going to cause better feelings. Okay. So I want you to picture yourself. You are bigger than the depression. You are bigger than depressing thoughts. The true you is bigger. You can almost visualize yourself getting bigger. You are bigger. You are in charge. You are the important factor. You are the important factor. I say this in other videos, it's okay. Like, you want things in this world. You want to manifest things. That's good. And you will, but the things you are the important thing. You are the factor. Okay. So start with some simple opposite action. Simplify your thoughts. Have the intention to think less. Simplify your thoughts. Just have the intention to do it. You might not know how to do it. Simplify your day. Treat yourself kindly. Be gentle with yourself. And then we change our focus. 3 good things, 3 things that went right today and why, or just 3 things that went right today is fine. 100 things that bring us joy. Okay. And the whole idea is, honestly, I made a video. I'll put this video too. One of the very first videos I think I posted on YouTube was about, it was a series I did on manifesting. And I think this was the second step I said in manifesting was leave room for more beautiful thoughts. So sometimes I just picture like this little space in my brain that's available. You don't want to fill it all with your ego thoughts. You want to leave space for your higher self to talk to you, for God, your higher self, the Holy Spirit to get in, so we leave room. I remember when I had that idea, I was getting ready for a client, and I was sitting and I was just, instead of like doing things, making copies and things that I would normally do to busy myself, I just kind of like stayed in a meditation, and like I stopped thinking, and I allowed myself to think better, to have a more beautiful thought. I do believe there is such a thing as right thinking. And it is true that what Esther Hicks says about our emotional guidance system, that our feelings are emotional guidance, and that they're telling us that we're not thinking right, but it's nothing to feel guilty about. We just want to guide ourselves to feel better. There is a way. When you feel better, those thoughts are the thoughts that you want to believe. It's true. It's really true. It's called right thinking. And the ego can really creep in here, though, especially when we're calling things right or wrong. The ego can creep in and beat up on you. And that's not anything that beats up on you, that makes you feel anxious, that makes you feel guilty, is not the right voice. Okay. So like, for instance, saying that like, I'm leaving space in my mind for more beautiful thoughts, and I'm allowing myself to receive guidance, And then the ego will be like, oh, follow that guidance, do this, do this, do this. And then it'll make you feel more anxious. No, the ego has creeped in through the back door. That is not helpful. That is still not the voice you want to listen to. You want to listen to the voice that makes you feel good, that makes you feel better. This is a truthful, helpful voice that will speak to you the truth about life, that will speak to you the truth about life and what is possible for you. You know, you are in the perfect place right now. There's no other alternative. You have to be, because this is where you are. Everything is perfect. You are in the perfect place. Okay. So in my next video, I want to talk about the miracle, feeling depressed and the miracle, because in the field of positive psychology, they talk about how all feelings have a purpose, and the feeling of sadness, depression, its purpose is to bring you closer to home. Okay, so we're going to talk more about what this means from a spiritual perspective. We're going to give this some spiritual perspective in my next videos coming up. So stay tuned for those. Those are coming. But hopefully today, this video helped you to change your focus. I have my magnifying glass out to change what you're magnifying. Picture you're going through your life with a magnifying glass, right? This could be thoughts, feelings. This could be things in your life. What do you want to magnify? I had a friend one time who, I still have her, but one time we would talk about doing our garden, and she drove herself crazy focusing on the weeds in her garden. All she could see was that she had weeds. Like, she couldn't take it. And her husband finally was like, stop focusing on the weeds. Focus on the beautiful flowers. Okay? So this is just like that. Focus on the beautiful flowers in your life. Stop focusing so much on the weeds. You're making the weeds too big. You are big. You are the important factor. You are the magic. It's all within you. Okay, but we say that without guilt, Don't listen to the voice that makes you feel guilty. Don't let the ego come in through the back door. Okay, now that I'm yelling, it's time to end. Okay, sending all my love today, hoping these videos have been helpful. Stay tuned to part 3, and peace and love. Go ahead and subscribe if you want more videos like this about bringing the vertical into this world and connecting with who you truly are, and I'll talk to you soon.